What is going on, Trash Talkers? We are back with another episode for you. In today's video, we're going to give you our predictions for Week 8 in the NFL. All that and much more coming your way right now. All right, before we get into today's video, be sure to hit that subscribe button and like the video as it will help us out tremendously. So sit back, relax, and enjoy today's video. All right, Nick, Week 8 is upon us, and we have a slew of major games this weekend, a big slate this weekend. And Nick, I want to start off with Thursday Night Football. We start off with a banger, the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. These teams seem to be going in opposite directions, but tell us who you have in this game.
Yeah, this is an interesting matchup. The Baltimore Ravens had a really close game against the Cleveland Browns last week, and we are going to see them take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who have just been absolutely awful, just losing in terrible fashion to the Carolina Panthers, who have been at the bottom of the NFL since the beginning of the season. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers cannot do anything on the offensive side of the ball. They can't stop anything on the defensive side of the ball. And I think Lamar Jackson is really going to come back in this game and have an MVP-like performance, really take advantage of what this defense is incapable of doing, and that is stopping the run. We're going to see this Ravens offense get back on track in this one and have a big performance. I will be taking the Baltimore Ravens away against the Buccaneers.
Wow, big shocker starting on Thursday Night Football, and then we get into our Sunday slate of games, starting with the Denver Broncos taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. We have Brett Rippon representing the Denver Broncos as Russell Wilson mends his torn hamstring, or at least what's being reported as a torn hamstring. Nonetheless, the Jacksonville Jaguars look solid on both offense and defense. They have not really gotten over the hump to winning football, but they are in competitive games every single week, and I think this is one of those games where it's going to be very low scoring, but the Jaguars are going to find a way to win. The Denver Broncos defense is for real. The Jacksonville Jaguars are just going to be too much for them. They're going to be able to put up at least 17 points, which seems to be the make or break point for the Denver Broncos offense, and I fully expect the Jacksonville Jaguars to come out on top in this one.
Next, we have the New England Patriots taking on the New York Jets, and the New York Jets sitting at 5-2, the New England Patriots sitting at 4-3. This is a very big game, and we're going to see Zach Wilson really have to step up and throw the ball against one of the toughest defenses in the NFL without Breece Hall available to the Jets. This is going to be a much tougher matchup for them to win. They're going to rely on their defense once again to really get after the quarterback, and we're going to be seeing Mac Jones under center in this game. It's going to be a very hard game for the New York Jets to win, and I don't see how they have a shot in this one. I'll be taking the New England Patriots to have a big victory against the New York Jets to edge them out into the division up to this point.
Next up, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. The Pittsburgh Steelers are just absolutely reeling. They are not in contention for anything this year. They're still trying to figure out who should be playing at quarterback for them at this point. While the Philadelphia Eagles, they are looking solid, remaining undefeated, and coming off of a bye week. This is going to be an extremely lopsided game. Not too much to talk about here, as I think the Philadelphia Eagles will absolutely steamroll their Pennsylvania counterparts, and the Philadelphia Eagles will move to 7-0 on the 2022 season.
Next up, we have the Chicago Bears taking on the Dallas Cowboys, and the Bears being one of the worst teams, if not the worst team in the NFL right now, taking on the best pass rush in the Dallas Cowboys. This is going to be one lopsided game. The only hope is that Dak Prescott is under center once again, in which this offense might be very stagnant through the air. They're going to rely on Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott once again to really take advantage of the run defense the Chicago Bears are putting out there. The pass rush is where they thrive, and to get around that, they're going to really rely on those two running backs to get them a win on the ground. Nonetheless, the Cowboys defense should do enough to get the victory in this, and we're going to really see the Dallas Cowboys get a big victory. I'll be taking their -10 spread against the Bears.
Next up, we have the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Minnesota Vikings, and we see the Vikings coming off of a bye, and the Cardinals, well, it's kind of a pseudo bye as they had a Thursday night football game in week 7. Nonetheless, these two teams are going to be prepared. They're going to be ready to go. The Arizona Cardinals, they look like they didn't miss a step with DeAndre Hopkins. Now it's getting Robbie Anderson into the mix. seeing what they can do with these two weapons added on to Rondale Moore and hopefully getting James Conner back for this game. The Cardinals look to be explosive on offense, taking on the 5-1 Minnesota Vikings, who are explosive themselves. It hasn't always looked pretty, but they are a quiet 5-1 team that is playing sound football on both sides of the coin. You have the defense that's getting after opposing quarterbacks, and you have the offense who's running the ball and throwing it with extreme productivity, and I fully expect the Vikings to continue on that path. This is going to be a high-scoring game in my estimation. I'm actually going to take the over on the 48 in this game, but I'm also taking the Vikings to win.
Next up, we have the Miami Dolphins taking on the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions going through a lot of turmoil lately. They put up a goose egg against the New England Patriots, and then after their bye week, they went on to only put up 6 points against the Dallas Cowboys, in which Jared Goff was sacked 5 times. It's going to be a very tough outing for them once again, taking on the Miami Dolphins, who have a very strong defense, a strong pass rush that's going to get to Jared Goff, and I think they're going to struggle on the offensive side of the ball. And with Tua under center once again for the Dolphins, we're seeing the Dolphins offense get back to where it was in the first 3 weeks of the season. I really think this is a big matchup for the Miami Dolphins. With the way the Lions defense is playing, they should really be able to put up a lot of points, and I really like them in this matchup. I will be taking them at their -3.5 spread against the Lions.
Next up, we have the Carolina Panthers taking on their division rival Atlanta Falcons. These two teams, they're not really playing for much, but even though their records say that they're in the mix for the division, we know that it is turmoil right now for both of these teams. Either way, the Carolina Panthers are looking to show out for their interim head coach, Steve Wilks, possibly keeping him as their head coach moving forward. And we saw what they were able to do last week, absolutely getting after Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think it's going to be a little bit different. Marcus Mariota is a mobile quarterback. They have a very different offensive scheme that is built to go against an aggressive defense like this. I think that the Atlanta Falcons are going to put up a fight, but I'm actually taking the Carolina Panthers to get the road victory here. I think they're playing with a lot of heart and a lot of soul. A lot of players are playing for jobs around the NFL right now, and I think they're going to continue this all the way up and through the trade deadline.
Next, we have the Las Vegas Raiders taking on the New Orleans Saints. Now, the Saints had a bad loss to the Arizona Cardinals on Thursday Night Football, but they put up a ton of points. And they're taking on the Las Vegas Raiders, who put up a ton of points on the Houston Texans, but also their defense was not playing that great. I think this is going to be a really high-scoring game. I really believe that the Las Vegas Raiders are starting to figure out how they need to run this offense. Obviously, Josh Jacobs is the powerhouse running back that is getting them a lot of yards, and they're going to continue working through him. And Devontae Adams is really showing out in this offense as well. So they're going to continue to use those two guys quite a bit, and I think that's going to be enough for the Raiders to get a victory over the Saints. But I will be taking the over on this 47 total point because I believe that both offenses will be competing till the end of the game.
Definitely. And moving on, we have the Tennessee Titans taking on the Houston Texans in an AFC South divisional matchup. The Tennessee Titans looked like they are about to take over this division, handling the Indianapolis Colts with relative ease. And we saw what the Houston Texans gave up to Josh Jacobs just last week. Now you have Derrick Henry, who is just an absolute animal. I don't think that they're going to be able to stop him. He might run for 200 or more yards against the Houston Texans. I think that this is going to be a very lopsided victory, and I'm taking the Tennessee Titans at their -4 spread. I think this is a very good line for you to make a lot of money on.
Next, we have the San Francisco 49ers taking on the LA Rams. Now, we saw this matchup a couple weeks ago in which the 49ers got a big victory over the Rams, really exposing this offensive line as we saw in week 1 when the Bills did it. And I think it's going to be a very similar outing, but this time we're going to see Christian McCaffrey fully ingrained into this offense. He got into there and had some big splash plays in his first game with the 49ers. He's going to get more involved as the season goes on, and this should be a great matchup with the Los Angeles Rams not playing well on both sides of the ball. I really don't believe in Matthew Stafford's ability to move this ball, and I don't expect the Rams defense to be able to stop this high-powered offense the 49ers are putting out there. I'll be taking the 49ers once again to beat the Los Angeles Rams.
Next up, we have the Washington Commanders taking on the Indianapolis Colts. And if you watched our power rankings video, you must have heard that we talked about the Washington Commanders and how they looked under Taylor Heinicke. Well, I think they're going to go into Indianapolis and make an absolute statement. When you take a look at this offense, Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, Brian Robinson, J.D. McKissick, Antonio Gibson, they have so many weapons, and Taylor Heinicke's actually getting the ball in their hands as opposed to Carson Wentz, who held it in his for way too damn long. Now the Indianapolis Colts with Matt Ryan seem like they're headed in the wrong direction, as he's just throwing interceptions, not really moving the ball. And outside of Nyheim Hines and Michael Pittman, I don't know who's going to step up for this team. They have had very inconsistent productivity from their number 2s and 3s all throughout the season, and I don't expect that to change against a stout Washington Commanders defense. I expect the Commanders to go into Indianapolis and win this ball game. I'm taking them at their plus 4.5 spread.
Next up, we have the New York Giants taking on the Seattle Seahawks, and this is going to be a really fun game to watch because both these teams have been very surprising so far this season. Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley really lighting it up on the offensive side of the ball, and now we're seeing Geno Smith and Kenneth Walker really lighting it up for the Seattle Seahawks. These two teams facing off. There's a lot on the line. Both these teams are at the top of the NFC right now, and this game is going to have a lot of big implications moving forward into the season. Now, I think we're going to see these defenses really play a big factor, and which one of them can get more stops is going to determine who wins this game. The Giants haven't done a great job of stopping other offenses, but they get clutch stops when they need them the most. The Seattle Seahawks do a great job of being consistent throughout the game, and they have some young DBs that are really stepping up so far this season. I think the consistency from the Seattle Seahawks defense is going to come through in this one. They'll be able to get more stops on Saquon and Daniel Jones and limit the offensive ability of the Giants. I'm going to be taking the Seattle Seahawks in a very close victory over the New York Giants.
On Sunday Night Football, on paper, we should have one hell of a matchup, but when you actually take a look at this, we are going to have one big snooze fest. The fact of the matter is that the Buffalo Bills are not only the superior team, but they're coming off of a bye. They have 2 weeks to prepare for Aaron Rodgers and company coming to Buffalo, so it's not even in Lambeau Field. On top of that, the Packers look absolutely anemic on both sides of the football. The defense has been absolutely Swiss cheese, just giving up big play after big play. Jair Alexander is not the shutdown corner he once was. This entire defense is not performing up to the standard of the Green Bay Packers that we have come to know and actually love. But they go into Buffalo, and Aaron Rodgers is built for the big moments. My question to you, Nick, do you think that he's going to be ready to go for this game? I think so. The problem is, I don't think the weapons around him are going to be able to go. I think that you're going to see a lot less of Romeo Doubs, and you're going to see a lot more of Sammy Watkins, and he's going to throw the football into tight coverage, and I think the Buffalo Bills are going to feast all over that. They are going to put pressure in his face. They're going to lock down these receivers, and they are going to make life a living hell for Aaron Rodgers. I'm taking the Buffalo Bills, and I'm taking them at -10.5. I believe in this Buffalo Bills team to not only get the victory, but to make a statement against Aaron Rodgers and give him his 4th straight loss of the season.
Yeah, we've got a lopsided Sunday night game, and then when we look at our Monday night game, it kind of looks very similar. The Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Cleveland Browns, a nice divisional matchup here, but it seems like both these teams are going in different directions. The Cleveland Browns have been able to do enough through the first 3 weeks of the season, but ever since then, they have not been able to move the football. Jacoby Brissett seems to have run out of time as the starter, and they are really hoping for week 12 to roll around so Deshaun Watson can get on the field. The Cincinnati Bengals, on the other hand, are starting to find their groove on offense. This team was very stagnant and could not move the ball to start the year, and now they have really found their groove, really looking like the end of the year last year, and the defense is starting to follow suit, getting better each and every game. I believe that the Cincinnati Bengals are primed for a big victory here over their division rival, and we're going to see the Bengals come out with a massive victory.
Joe Burrow showed us once again why he is Joe Cool and what he can do with these offensive weapons. Hopefully Jamar Chase will be a go for this game as he has an extra day to rest. But nonetheless, I think the Bengals are just absolutely more stout on both sides of the coin, and this is going to be a very lopsided victory. Nick, I'm with you on that one. But I want to hear from you guys. Let us know in the comments down below who you have in week 8. Which teams do you disagree with us? Let us know in the comments down below. And if you guys make any bets, put your bet slips in the comments. We love to see what bets you guys are making. We love to see what bets you guys are making. All right, well, that's going to be all for now. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. We go live every single day. That'll be all. Peace and love.